Hi, and welcome to the first show of Heal Yourself, Gwinnett. I am your host and upper cervical chiropractor, Dr. Lauren Millman. I am in private practice at Swanee Spine and Wellness Center. We are recording today out of the Subaru of Gwinnett studio. We are excited to launch our first show here. We're going to be recording the last Wednesday of every month for Heal Yourself, Gwinnett. I am here today with my producers, Mike and Trey. Hi, guys.
Hello, Lauren. Congratulations.
Yes, thank
Good
you.
luck.
Yeah, we're excited about it. The purpose of Heal Yourself Gwinnett is we are looking to educate our community on the foundations of health, provide ways to live the healthiest life possible. Stuff that we're going to be discussing on our podcast and our shows, things that maybe your doctor doesn't go over with you. So we're hoping to give you some information. As we start here today, I had to start with I always like to share the day in the life of a chiropractor. It really never gets old. And just this week, one of the things that I had a first this week, Mike. I had a first. I don't know if you're familiar with or how much you watch TV, but I had a gentleman come in this week, and he asked, and as he came in, one of the things I asked him was, have you been to a chiropractor before? And his answer was no. That's okay. That does happen. That's all right. As he came, and then the next question was, well, what do you know of chiropractic? Because I get all kinds of statements and answers under the sun. And the only thing that this gentleman could say back to me was, well, I don't know much other than what I've seen on 2.5 Men. And I'm not so sure that puts chiropractic in the best light, but nonetheless, I hope I don't disappoint the man. And as he's coming in and hoping that I'm nothing short of Dr. Alan Harper there, but just a funny story I thought I would like to share with you. So, and the reason why I even start with that is that there are a lot of misconceptions, not only about health and healthcare, but really about chiropractic. Many people think that all chiropractic is the same, and just like in medicine, there's many different ways to practice it, and many different ways to, some people are very specialized, and whereas others might be more traditional, and most people aren't aware of that. But today's topic, as we're getting into this today, what I wanted to start our show with is I wanted to start with talking about posture, okay? What your doctor never told you about posture and how it can affect your health. This might seem, yes, Trey, right as I said that, he did the perfect cue. Thank you, Trey. He just started sitting up straight, for you guys that can't see this. And nicely done, Trey. And the reason why I'm starting with this is because, just like I was talking about earlier, there are a lot of misconceptions about this. For many, unless you are experiencing pain or problems in your back, the likelihood that that this has really been a topic of conversation for you or for you and your doctor is probably very rare. Unless Trey right there, on cue, he just stands up straight or sits up straight. At least, or some of you maybe, whenever I do talk about this with some of my patients, it's often that maybe your mom or your grandmother has told you as you were growing up, sit up straight. And the misconception around posture is that many people think that poor posture causes back problems or causes problems. And the truth is, it's not that your poor posture can cause problems. It's that it is a sign of poor health. Usually there's something going on in your body that is causing you to not be able to sit up or stand or stand in a certain balanced way that can be leading to certain health problems. So the truth is, your posture is related to every health function of your body, in your body. Proper posture, and this is the foundation of our office and how I practice. Proper posture is the foundation to optimal health. All too often, I see people with health concerns, pain, problems, dysfunction, and they all have one really interesting thing in common. They typically, you're going to see people with complex postural patterns, and I'm going to get into in a second what that means. So your body was designed to stand balanced. Your body was designed to stand upright, and that is how it functions optimally. And your body should do so effortlessly. It should support itself effortlessly. It's not something that it should be unconscious. Proper posture, standing as you should be something that you naturally stand and do. Your body was not born flawed. It was not born broken. It was not born to break down. Typically, something happens along the way that maybe will result in these as your body's starting to break down and start to exhibit this. Proper balance, again, should be unconscious. You shouldn't have to think about sitting up straight. Whenever you, like for example, one ways that you can look at this is like if you're standing in line at a grocery store, you're standing in line somewhere, do you find yourself shifting your weight from side to side? Do you find yourself trying to, alleviate pain, alleviate and twist and contort yourself as you're standing? If you do, then that's your body's way of trying to self-correct itself and alleviate itself. You should be able to stand flat-footed, both feet on the ground, and that should be comfortable for you. That should be a natural position for you. So let's clarify this. So whenever I talk about posture, that's actually just one component of measuring entire body balance or the balance of the body. What we specialize in our office is we look three-dimensionally at the entire body to see how it's actually standing and what type of balance that it's actually in. I'll explain that here in a second. So, although it sounds simple, why are we so focused here with looking at looking at the body? So, what we are looking for when you are looking at the spine, when we're looking at the body, let's say as you're looking, if you're facing me and you're standing right in front of me, your spine should be straight up and down. Your shoulders should be level, your pelvis should be level, your head should be sitting balanced right on top of your spine, and your earlobe. One way you can look for that is look at your earlobes to see if they're level with each other. That tells you that your body is straight and balanced in that plane. Whenever you turn to the side, your body should, what we're going to see, or your spine should show these nice three curves in your spine. Your neck is going to go one direction, your middle back is going to go in the opposite direction, and then your low back is going to go, in the same direction back like your neck should. Your body was designed like this to... your spine then acts as a shock absorber. So we have this 15-pound bowling ball sitting on top of your spine, and your spine, whenever you have these nice, beautiful curves in there like that, it supports that head sitting on top of you. Your body was designed to be able to support that bowling ball. What happens is if we've damaged our spine along the way, your body then has difficulty supporting that 15-pound bowling ball, and you'll start to see twisting, contorting, rotating, bending, bowing in certain directions. And now initially that might not be a problem, but if your body sits like that over time for a long period of time, that's when we might start to see problems. And I'll go into that about in a second as well. So how I measure body imbalance, one of the things that we do in our office, well, the very first thing that I do as whenever you come into the office is I want to check and see if your legs are balanced or they're the same length with each other. Your legs, with the exception of a very rare instance, your legs were, you have the same length legs. Whenever you lie flat back on a table, your feet should actually be the same length. If they aren't, one of the things that we will see is that could actually be indicative of one side of your pelvis is hiked up higher than the other. And then that might not even be a pelvic problem, but that actually could be coming from your spine. So we do look at that. Secondly, this is when I will look at your posture. You'll go in, and I actually have a grid put up on my wall, and as I have you stand in front of this grid, I want to see if your shoulders are level. I want to see if your head is perfectly balanced and square and centered right on top of your shoulders. And I can look at that to see if there's one earlobe that's lower than the other. I want to see if there's any twisting and rotation in your shoulders. I want to see if there's any twisting and rotating in your pelvis, as well as if there's any twisting and rotating in your head. So we're looking kind of at several different planes that your body could be in, just in looking at that, which will give us a great deal of information. The third thing that I'm going to look for, which, your grandmother could look at your posture and tell you, wow, look, you have one shoulder lower than the other, or your head could be tilted off center than the other. Where we really get the three-dimensional information here is I'm going to have you stand, I'm going to check for a weight differential, and I'm going to have you stand on two scales put side by side. The reason why we do this is perfect balance. What we will see is if your spine is straight up and down and your spine is balanced, let's say, for example, you're 100 pounds. Your body should distribute your weight equally from one side to the other. So if you're 100 pounds, you should put 50 pounds on one side and 50 pounds on the other side. If your spine is out of alignment, what you'll see is oftentimes a shift from one side to the other. And again, initially, this may not be a big problem, or it might not be a problem. But let's say that your body sits like this for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or even longer. That's when you start to see people can have a significant amount of problems, overall health problems. And so that's what we're looking at.
Am I allowed to interrupt your show?
You are
or
so allowed
have
to
I just
interrupt.
committed the biggest faux pas
You did.
ever in the history of radio?
You did.
I did.
You're lucky I like you.
You'll
though,
forgive
so.
me, though?
I'll forgive you.
How many people, by percentage, are most people at a line, or is it rare, or is it pretty common?
I would say it is pretty common. And now the varying degrees that people come in and exhibit certain things is very unique to the person. Sometimes I can see minuscule changes or minuscule what I call even like a minor misalignment, or maybe one little component is really off, or I can see all of these components are significantly off, and so that really ranges from person to person. But it's the kind of the same thing. This is how I look at it. If you have never been to a dentist your entire life, and at age 40 you decide to go and see a dentist for the very first time, what's the likelihood that you might have a cavity?
Pretty high, I would think.
Pretty high.
Yes.
So your spine is with you from the day you're born. Like, you're born with it. Like, it wasn't just put in when you're like 5 years old. Like, you're born with it, and it grows along with you. It's been there through every step of the way. So for you to, whenever you're learning to walk, you would kind of fall down a few times, and then whenever you're learning to ride your bike, I don't know about you, but I fell down a lot, and then I bump my head and I'm getting out of a car door. I've had a few accidents along the way. I've fallen down and things I'm not proud of along the way, and I've played sports. Well,
so unless you've lived in a bubble,
you
probably have done something.
Right. So and now, again, the varying degrees of how this could impact your body is unique to the person, but the likelihood that you might have some type of situation going on, it is curious to see. Now, do people come in and they are in perfect alignment? Yeah. Some people do come in. Those people have lived in a bubble, and I don't understand what their problem is. No, I'm just teasing. But
I hate those people.
I hate those people. No, I tease. But it does happen, and it does actually happen too. We do see children. We see a lot of children in our office, and they're the ones that typically, because they haven't had years and years and years of injury to the spine, and it hasn't been sitting there for years and years, you will find sometimes little minor things that you need to tweak on them. But the best thing ever is to see children and keep them in alignment, because we know that's going to affect their health as they're growing. One of my favorite lines is, "As the twig is bent, so grows the tree." So as they're growing, I would want to make sure that their spine's doing good. So, yeah, write that one down.
I am.
I'm going to tweet that one.
I'm going to tweet that one for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That was a good one. So
I won't interrupt you anymore.
No laughing, Trey. I'm sorry. So oftentimes I do like to get out in the community and talk to my people about these things that we just talked about. And I can do what I call, whenever I am out in the community, I can do what I call mini screenings and look for these things on people, even without my equipment, in the office. And one of the things that you can do, I love to tell people here, why don't you give yourself a self-test? Why don't you, there's certain things that you can look for. First of which is go look at yourself in the mirror. Are your shoulders level? Is your head sitting, straight on top of your spine? In other words, are your ears level to each other? Do you see any twisting and rotating in your head, and or in your head and your shoulders? The other thing is you might not be able to see this, but you could ask a friend, a spouse, or a loved one, does it look like my hips are twisted at all? These are all indicators of an imbalanced frame, or whenever they are balanced, then it would be indicative of a balanced frame. Whenever you could have someone look behind you and ask them, do my shoulder blades, do they look like they're level with each other? And that's one thing to look to. You can also, if you have two scales at your home, you could also put two scales side by side. And you would need someone to look at the scales because you wouldn't be able to look down at the numbers. But if you put two scales side by side and then had someone read those, see how much one could be off than the other. So just little things that you could even do at home. So why are we so concerned with this? What is the big deal here? So, okay, great. I might not be in alignment. So what, Doc? We are concerned with detecting and correcting or notating any of these imbalances because every bodily function is under direct control of your nervous system. That's so important. I'm going to repeat it again. Every bodily function is under direct control of your nervous system. Cue Mike. There you go. Tweet away, my friend.
I'm trying. I can't keep up with you. It's too much information too quick.
Do I talk too fast?
No, it's just too much good stuff.
I've been told I talk too fast.
I'm still doing it. If the twig is bent, so goes the tree.
I don't blame you. Well, that was so good. You might want to tweet that twice.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
sorry. But yeah, just saying. So the function of your spine is to house your nervous system, okay? And what I mean by that is your spinal cord, your central nervous system is composed of your brain and your spinal cord. The sole purpose of your spine is yes, to support you whenever you're standing upright, but it's also meant to house your spinal cord, your brain and your spinal cord. Do you know that your spine is the only bone in your entire body that encases your central nervous system? Or let me rephrase it like this. Your central nervous system is the only organ in your entire body that has its own hard shell casing. Everything else is kind of lumped together inside your rib cage. So to me, I'm going, wow, maybe your central nervous system is really important. Maybe our maker kind of said, wow, let's give it its own protective mechanism. So yeah, it is that important. So chiropractors look to the spine. Back to another misconception is many people think that chiropractors are really just about neck pain, back pain, and headaches. That's a pretty common one. You might have even thought that before you met me, Mr. Salmond. Once or twice, yes. So the truth is that chiropractors look to the spine because that's where your nervous system is, and we understand the intimate connection between the interference free that we can make your nervous system and your spinal cord, and how well your body is functioning. So your health is directly proportionate to the state of your nervous system. So, for example, if your nervous system was actually in your big toe. Like, let's say your big toe ran your body, and that was how it functioned. Then I would be probably looking to your big toe to making sure that it's doing okay. Luckily for me and for all chiropractors out there, it's not in your big toe; it's in your spine. Because I don't really want to look at a lot of feet all day long. So yay me. So your nervous system, we notice that when the body is out of balance or it's out of alignment. We know that the body is under more stress than it was designed to withstand, okay? Now, what can this mean? What do you mean by more stress? One of the things that we see that this could mean is, for starters, for some people, that could mean physical stress. So imagine, just like we were talking about earlier, your spine is bending or bowing to one side, or your head is off from one side and it's not balanced. Let's say that whenever you stand on the scales, that your weight differential is from one side to the other. Then imagine, let's say, for example, someone might be 10 or 15 pounds off center from one side to the other. Then this is going to put literally what we call physical stress to your joints, your ligaments, your tendons, and your muscles. Your body's going to feel the results of that. So oftentimes one of the issues or one of the concerns that I have whenever people see certain healthcare providers is they go in and saying, Doc, I'm having knee pain. Doc, I'm having hip pain, or my feet hurt, or my muscles are really, really tight over here. Did anyone ever look to see how balanced you were? Did anybody ever look to see if you're carrying 10, 15, 20 pounds off from one side to the other, do you think over time that would cause your body to exhibit pain or dysfunction? Heck yeah. So a problem, this goes really overlooked sometimes. It can cause, the physical problems. So let's say, for example, that you're on your feet all day and your body is out of alignment and out of balance and you're carrying significantly more weight from one side to the other. Whenever you go home at night, do you think your body would be fatigued? You think you would be tired? You think you'd be sore at the end of the day because your body's going, I'm just having a hard time even just keeping you standing upright. Absolutely. It would, you see this. And so, people innately know something's not right. And this is when people say, when can working out be more detrimental than beneficial? If you were out of alignment, then absolutely working out for you at that point actually could be more of a hindrance. It could hurt you further. So the other way that this type of imbalance can affect your health is neurologically. So we're talking about, nerves that exit, leaving your brain, that exit out of your brainstem, and you also have nerves that exit out of every single level coming out of your spine. If you're twisting, bending, bowing, and contorting yourself, then do you think that you could actually be interfering with nerve function going to organs of your body? Absolutely, you really could be. So the other thing is your nervous system controls how you think, how you sleep. It controls your moods, your mental clarity. And whenever it's being interrupted because it's having difficulty standing in a balanced position, we find people that are patients where they come in, I just feel like my body is just, I can't think clear. I kind of have like this mental fog. So again, repeating, the foundation of your body, of your health, begins with proper 3-dimensional body balance. So there is no health process that is not under direct control of your nervous system. And this is whenever we say structure dictates function. There you go, Mike. There's another nugget for you. You like that?
Too many.
I'm blowing you up over here, right?
You are.
Okay.
Smoke coming out of the keyboard right now.
Right. Well, there's smoke coming out of my microphone too, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Trey laughed on that one. So structure dictates function. Your body, how well your nervous system will function is directly proportionate to the structure. So, how deep can this go, Doc? How really? I get some. How deep can this go, Dr. Millman? I'll get that one. And there's one story that comes to mind, and one that will just always break my heart, but it ends up being a great example for how deep this can run. So I do have a patient that's been coming in for quite some time. And she has a husband. Yes, she does. She has a husband who recently underwent a hip replacement surgery. And she has had a trying year because the surgery has ended up causing problem after problem after problem with their family. And when you see all the time people that need a hip replacement, many times this can be a biomechanical, meaning that this imbalance in the body has been putting so much pressure and stress, let's say, for example, on this person's hip for so long that eventually that joint just completely wore down. Eventually, maybe it was like that for 10 or 15, 20 years. Eventually they had to go in, they needed medical intervention, and he went in and had the hip replacement. Well, then after the surgery, the hip got infected. And then he was bedridden for months on end. And then he was in a wheelchair because he couldn't put any weight on it. And then it got infected again. He ended up having to lose his job. So this is an extreme case. Don't get me wrong. This doesn't happen with everybody. But it was one thing after another, all because we ended up needing this, or it started with this hip replacement. So where my heart is and where my head is I don't know if I could have ever prevented that gentleman from having hip surgery. I don't know. But I tell you, in 20, if I had been introduced to him 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, and definitely 20 years ago, could this have been something that could have been prevented? Maybe. I don't know. But I'll always wonder, and we'll never know. But so when we say that, chiropractic can help you save with other healthcare costs, this is one example of that. Best health insurance you can invest in is making sure that your nervous system is functioning as it needs to. When you ensure that your brain, that your body is in balance and your brain and your nervous system is working properly, oftentimes reducing and even eliminating the need for other healthcare interventions. So we're wrapping her up, Mike. I think I've given you more than you can handle today.
My fingers are hurting.
Fingers are hurt. Yeah, I feel it. I don't blame you. I gave you a lot.
Best health insurance you invest in is making sure your central nervous system is, what was that nugget there?
Balanced.
Is balanced.
And working properly. Is that more characters than
I think
Twitter will allow?
For those that follow us on Gwinnett Radio X, I think we can fit that in.
Okay. Very good. Just for those people. Just for those people.
Well, you're going to retweet it on yours, right?
I am going to retweet it on mine, which, great segue. My Twitter handle, and I would love for everyone to follow me because I do like to give out even more information other than just the last Wednesday of each month, is my Twitter handle is Swanee Spine, or at Swanee Spine, SUWANEESPINE. And you can also like us on Facebook, and that is Swanee Spine and Wellness Center. The last thing that I'm going to invite our listeners to today is we like to celebrate health around our office, and we are hosting an open house this upcoming Tuesday, October the 6th. We are hosting it from 6 to 8 p.m., and we invite you, if you're listening to this right now, and it's before October the 6th, then we invite you to come to this. So, Trey, you're invited. You're welcome to come. Mike's already going to be there, folks. And he's going to be, walking around and potentially recording bits and pieces for upcoming shows. So you very well might just be able to get on the air yourself or be in a recorded episode. Back to social media for a second. Whenever you engage with us on social media, whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, or even Instagram, let us know that you heard us on Heal Yourself Gwinnett. And there might be a little extra prize there for you, but I'm going to leave you hanging on that one. So this is Dr. Lauren Millman. You have been listening to Heal Yourself Gwinnett. Thank you for listening.